Hey, this is a short video. I'm titling this Nerding Out with Beythastar just because it's something I want to talk about. It's not a Let's Play, it's not anything super fancy. In fact, this isn't even relevant news, but I think you'll enjoy it. So, this here is my favorite graphics card of all time. This is the Radeon Vega Frontier Edition. As you can see, it's got a few scratches from existing over the past 9 years. It's that old. Damn. It's only got one fan. As you can see over here, we got four screws, mounting screw holes. It's got, that looks, I'm trying to remember what that is. 3 display ports and 1 HDMI port. I believe it's HDMI 2.0. It's got a custom backplate. And it's got 2 switches here. So you can turn on this tachyometer on or off, and then you can make the lights be either red or blue. I don't remember what that's for. I want to say that's frequency, but I'm not entirely sure. I've never actually used it. I tend to not like RGB in the first place, so I turned that off immediately. You'll find a bunch of videos about this card online. I've been kind of binge watching them lately, which is really weird because, like I said, this card is 9 years old. I have a better one in my computer that I'm using, but this is my baby. I love this one. So here's some specs. I've mentioned it before, I think in a racing game, just to nerd out because, but I'll say it again. It's got 4096 cores. It's running at 1.6 gigahertz. Although this card in particular, not this kind of model, I mean this one and only one, I've actually seen it go up to 1.8 gigahertz. It doesn't sound like that much at first, but that is how much its upgrade has. The Radeon 7. That one has less cores, 3840, so 256 less cores, not much, but it is a difference. But it's running at that speed. And it's supposed to be the upgrade to this card. So this one actually has more cores at the same speed as the upgrade, as its replacement, which is why I really like this one. And I haven't even been running it at max speed when I did test it out. Well, the fan specifically. So that could run cooler. And this card actually, when it runs cooler, can run faster. So it might do more than that. I haven't tested it because it's going to be screamingly loud. But even so, it's been doing 1800 megahertz, which is 1.8 gigahertz. And at that point, it only ran at 210 watts. This thing is supposed to only do 1.6 at 300 watts. So not only is it faster than possible, well, supposedly possible, but it's also running at less energy. And for that, I really like this card. I wish I could use it more. In fact, if we're talking about raw performance, I would genuinely use this over my current card because it's that cool. And it runs well enough that I'm happy with the performance. The reason why I don't do that is video encoding. This card can do, I think, H.264, whereas the one I'm using right now does AV1. Before I started live streaming, I didn't have any idea what any of that meant, so I wouldn't have cared. But now that I'm actually live streaming, I know what the difference means and why that's a big deal. So this card needs about twice the data to record a 4K video than the one I'm using. And I'm trying to archive every single video I have so that for any reason whatsoever, such as right now that I'm doing shorts where I'm just clipping scenes from episodes I've already done or am about to release, I want to have access. I want to be able to load it up into my video editor immediately. If I have to download video or old videos off of YouTube, then that becomes a hassle. And if for some reason a video gets taken down off YouTube, I would have lost it forever. Whereas archiving, I have it all with me. I did kind of get carried away with making a huge archive. Uh, right now, I want to say I have about 38 terabytes of storage just on one computer, the one I'm using for everything. But that easily can get higher if I wanted to. If I wanted it to. So yeah, for now I'm all set with data. 38 terabytes, 64 gigabytes of RAM. The graphics card is powerful and fast. It's not the best. It's also AMD. It's an RX 7900 GRE. So that'll get me through. That's I want to say that's the one good thing for me specifically about the RAM shortages right now is I kind of made off like a bandit there. I have everything I need. I don't need to worry about anybody overpricing things anymore because I already have everything set up. And shoot, if for some reason I need to build another computer, I got the parts. I got the magically overpowered graphics card here. But that's all I wanted to do today. Just wanted to show this off. One of my favorite graphics cards of all time. Don't listen to what this says. The the RX 5700. That's not what this is. This is most definitely a Vega Frontier Edition. And I know for a fact this isn't a very sophisticated imitation. Because when I load this up onto a computer, it does give me access to HBCC, the high bandwidth cache controller. What that does is it says, hey, take the 16 gigabytes of VRAM on this baby and turn it into cache for the computer. Which, like I said, my computer has 64 gigabytes. What that effectively means is it takes half the RAM on the computer, so that would be 32 gigabytes, and adds it onto this. So it goes up to 48. Kind of turning it into a 48 gigabyte graphics card. It's not perfect. It's fast enough that you will very rarely notice a difference. But at the end of the day, it's still a 9-year-old graphics card. So it's not magically going to have more performance than the RTX 5090 that only has 32 gigs. You know, that's not how this works. You're essentially taking an old computer and sticking more RAM into it and hoping it helps. Which, for this one, it already has 16 gigabytes, just like my regular one. So that's not an upgrade. But for somebody who doesn't have a lot of money, or they can't afford to get a big upgrade right now, and their current graphics card has only like 4 gigabytes, like one of the old ones, or even one of the newer ones with 8 gigs, this would be a decent upgrade. Let me see how much it is right now. The prices do fluctuate. Right now, I'm just taking a look on eBay, and I see it going for $270, $340, $213. Well, $244 with delivery. I paid $250 for this one. That was a few months ago. I don't know why I bought it, to be honest. I already had other graphics cards, and I don't really need this one. But I figured, you know what, this one was... Back then, they were like $500 each, and then this one was half price. So I said this might be a scam, but fuck it, let's see what happens. And then I bought it, and the first thing I noticed was the fan was going at 100%. Not even I started running games and went 100%. I mean, it didn't even boot into Windows, and it was already screaming. So I thought, oh my god, I did get scammed. I opened it up, changed out the thermal paste. Perfect. Perfect. No problems whatsoever. Except for one, but that was more of my own computer. the little bracket that clips into the graphics card down here. This guy. Uh, the part that hooks up here broke, so I had to crazy glue that back together on the computer. But that was literally just a piece of plastic. No hard wiring, no nothing to deal with, just plastic. So I get that fixed, hook this up, and yeah, I was at first disappointed because it was going at the fan was going 500 RPM, which is for this thing slow. It goes up to about 5,000. And when it does that, it would heat up a little, so it would only do 1200 megahertz. So I thought again, oh my god, I got scammed. It's really weird how the drivers work, where the more you raise the fan speed, it automatically changes the frequency. So I start turning it up, and I get it to 1500, which is the speed of a regular Vega 64, which is kind of just this with half the memory. And then I thought, okay, I'm not getting scammed. Let me see how much further I can take it. I get it up to 3500 RPM, so about 70% speed, and that's when it hits 1800 megahertz. At that point, I thought, oh my god, this was not a scam. This isn't even a golden sample. This is a platinum sample. Holy shit! And yeah, I tested it out with a bunch of games. Most of them ran way better than I could have ever imagined. I think the worst game was Monster Hunter Wilds because it's already horribly optimized. But it did 1080p low at like 50 frames per second. Not ideal, sure, but that's still better than what was the minimum spec? Let me see. Monster Hunter Wilds system requirements. Okay, yeah. So minimum specs target 1080p 30 FPS with 5500 XT. Recommended aim for 1080p 60 FPS with frame gen. That's an RTX 2060 Super or RX 6600, which I want to say is on par, except instead of doing 1080p 30 FPS and then having that frame generated up to 60, it's just doing it on its own. So yeah, all things considered, this graphics card, my favorite one I've ever owned, and I had a Radeon 7 once. That one was pretty badass, but this thing, it was supposed to be replaced by it, and it already destroyed it. And if you see the Gamers Nexus video on tearing this thing down and looking at all the MOSFETs it has, or the VRMs, this thing is designed to overclock like a motherfucker. So no wonder it hit 1800 megahertz. It can probably do more. I kind of want to upgrade it a little bit, which I don't know how I'd be able to pull that off because over here, this part here, has the heatsink. You can't see it perfectly, but on the other side of this whole thing here is the actual graphics card core and the memory. That directly presses against a vapor chamber, which then soaks up the heat, just soaks it up, and then pulls it into the big aluminum block here. I want to see if I can maybe figure out how to build my own, where it's still the vapor chamber made up of copper, but then instead of aluminum, it's a full-on copper heatsink. That way, it's sucking out more heat, which then gets pushed out by the fan spinning and going out through the back. Through right there. This space right, that whole area. That's where the heat comes out of. I have never done any kind of metal work, no machinery, or no machining at all, so I don't know how I'm going to figure that out. And honestly, for right now, it's not really necessary. Like I said, this thing already runs well, and I'm not using it at the moment, so for now, it's just going to stay in storage until I figure that out. Or maybe I build another computer and it goes in there. Time will tell. Anyway, that's all for this short video. It's not part of any bigger program. It's not going to be specific, like episodic as often as the others, at least. Every once in a while, I'll nerd out like this. Maybe I'll do another video showing off the hard drive enclosure I built. But that thing's janky as hell, so I don't recommend that. Anyway, thanks for coming over. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next time in the actual Let's Plays. There we go. You'll have a good one.